Good morning, all of you. So, in the last lecture, we were discussing the schematic diagram of the PMR spectrophotometer, and we have came to a conclusion that in a spectrophotometer, the radio frequency radiations are kept constant, and the applied magnetic field is varied or it is changed from minimum to the maximum. And so, we considered that the different kinds of protons, different kinds of protons different kinds of protons in a molecule absorbs absorbs at different magnetic field or different magnetic at different magnetic field. And so here when we want to consider that the number of PMR signals which are being obtained, so if in a molecule, if all protons if all protons in a molecule absorbs at same magnetic field same magnetic field, then then they will produce one signal they will produce one signal. And so in this way, this does not help a lot, but however the protons in the different chemical environment, the protons the protons in different chemical environment in the different chemical environment absorbs at different magnetic field. So in short, we can say the number of PMR signals is equal to the number of PMR signals is equal to the number of types of protons in the molecule. Means how many signals you are going to get ever. If you are going to get three signals, so this will indicate that there are three different types of protons, means these protons are of different chemical environment. They are of different chemical environment, means in again in a short, chemically chemically equivalent protons absorbs at same field and and produce one signal and will produce one signal. But chemically non-equivalent protons will absorb at different magnetic field. So this is the important aspect that you are supposed to keep in your mind, so that when, for example, we will just have an example here. So here if we are having an example, that is CH4, that is a methane molecule, and in methane molecule all four protons are chemically are equivalent. And so all these four protons will give you one signal, or to this we can also call it as one peak. You will get either one signal or one peak. Same is the case here in the another molecule. Suppose here CH3 ethane. Here again, if you just see that the chemical environment of all these six protons, means 2 carbons and 6 hydrogens, and all these 6 hydrogens means 3 protons are attached to one carbon and 3 protons are attached to the another carbon, but the chemical environment is same. means the electron density around these protons is same, means all six protons are equivalent, and so you will get one signal or one peak. So one signal or one peak. So the another example here I will just give, that is CH3CH2OH. So in this molecule, if we see that there are six protons, in all six protons, but the electronic density or the chemical environment, electron density around every proton or the environment of these protons is not same, it is different. And so here we are getting three different kinds of protons, or A, B and C. Same is the case in another example, that is CH3CH2CH3. This is your propane molecule. Now if you see, these three protons and these three protons are having same environment, but these two protons is having different environment, and so here you are getting two kinds of protons, A and this B. And so here we are having three kinds of protons, here we are having two kinds of protons, and so here two signals will be obtained, and here in this molecule three signals will be obtained. Here the three signals will be obtained. So we will just see the different examples for the better understanding of the kinds of protons and the different kinds of the number of signals. And so here we will have an the molecular structure, number of types of protons, and number of PMR signals. So we have considered the first example, that is your ethane, CH3CH3. Here the number of types of protons means six protons are there, but the type is only one, and so here we say only one type of proton, and so you are going to get only one signal. Then the second, here CH3CH2CH3. Here if you just see that these two are same, that is A, and this is another different type of proton. So here we are getting two types of protons and two signals. The another example here, suppose this ethyl bromide. Now this bromine atom is going to exert a inductive effect, and this inductive effect will be more stronger on these two protons and less stronger on these three protons. So the environment of this chemical environment or the electron density around these protons will be different, and so here we will get two kinds of protons, that is A and B. So here you are going to get two signals. So in this way, if you go on discussing the different types of molecules, that is CH3CH2OH. So here again we are getting three kinds of protons, A, B, C. So three kinds of protons and three signals, means the number of kinds of protons or the number of types of protons is equal to the number of signals as per our understanding here. So the fifth, suppose here this acetaldehyde. Here this proton is attached to this carbon atom, carbonyl group directly, and here these three protons are attached to methyl group, but it is directly attached here. But these are two types of protons, so A and B, here two kinds and two signals. Then here we will see CH3, CH2O, CH2, OCH3. Now if you see that this methyl group is attached to one oxygen, this methylene group is attached to two oxygens, so the electron density of these two protons and these three protons is not same. In the same way, to this one oxygen, one CH2 group is directly attached and methyl group is subsequent here. So the electron withdrawing effect will be stronger on these two protons and it is less on this proton. And so here we are getting in all A, B, C and D, means here we are getting four kinds of protons, and so here we will get four signals. Here we will get four signals. In the same way, here another example, that is CH3, CH, CH3, Cl. Here again, if you just see that this proton is attached to the carbon which is directly attached to this halogen, but these two are away from the chlorine. So A and this B. So here we are getting two types of protons and two signals will be obtained. Then in benzene, all the protons are same. Here there are six protons, means here all these six protons are same. And so here we will get one signal, one proton, one type of proton and one signal. Then the another example, if the two methyl groups are attached, this is the para-xylene. So these two methyl groups are having the same environment, and this will be your the another environment for these four protons, means this A and B. So here you will get two kinds of protons and two signals. Then the 10, that is CH3, CH2, CH2, NH2. So here again we will see that there are four different environments of to the protons, and so this is A, B, C and D. So here four kinds of protons and four signals. So in this way you can just check the molecules. So one more example I want to just indicate, that is, suppose here the type of molecule which we are going to see or write. So I will just indicate it with the help of black pen so that it will be easy to understand. That C H H, here to this ethyl group is attached and to this methyl group is attached. So these are going to be the different kinds of protons, and so this is A, B, C, D and E, means 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 kinds of protons, and you will get 5 signals. So in this way we can decide the number of kinds of protons is equal, means depending upon the chemical environment or the electron density around the protons, we can get the different kinds of signals. So the chemically equivalent protons will give you only one signal, and the chemically different non-equivalent protons will give you different signals. And so we have seen all these examples. You just go through the different types of molecules, try to find out the number of signals going to be obtained in the NMR spectra. Then we will come to the next part of this topic, that is, once we are getting the number of kinds of protons or the number of signals, we are able to justify our answer that the electronic environment of the chemical environment or the electron density around the proton is, when it is different, you will get different signals. So in a spectrum, what will be the position of NMR or PMR signals? So they all will not show the, means if you are getting two signals, one will be to a lower side or the other will be to a higher side. Why this difference arises and how this difference arises? So what will be the position of the signals in the spectrum, that we want to study. And for that, here we are going to introduce another concept, that is shielding, and or shielding and de-shielding. So the word shielding indicates, what it indicates? It protects. Shield is used to protect ourselves in the war. So it is protection. Shielding is protection, and de-shielding means it is not protected. And so, in our discussion, the nucleus, that is the proton or the hydrogen, it's not never alone, and this proton is always associated, or it is found in a molecule with a covalent bond formation. Means the proton which is found in the covalent bond formation with heteroatoms, like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. And so we will get the different types of bonds, that is your CH bond, NH bond, OH bond. Means proton or the magnetic nuclei proton is being involved in the bonding, and we want to get, so the proton is always surrounded by the bonding pair of electrons. Proton in the covalent bond, proton is always surrounded by bonding pair of electrons, and so when such molecule is kept in an external magnetic field, when external magnetic field is applied to proton, the circulating, so we say that the proton is having a nucleus which revolves around its own axis and creates a magnetic field. But apart from this, when the external magnetic field is applied, the proton is going to create a magnetic field, but the bonding electron pair produces its own magnetic field known as diamagnetic field or induced magnetic field. So this magnetic field, that is the induced magnetic field, is being created by the bonding electron pair when the molecule is kept in an external magnetic field. So how we can just go through this concept? So while going through this concept, that is the shielding and de-shielding, we can just have a look on the nuclei of an atom. Suppose this is a proton, that is the nucleus. So this is the nucleus which is revolving around its own axis. It revolves around its own axis. But this is always surrounded by the electrons. So this is always surrounded by the electrons, and so these electrons are continuously revolving. And what happens when such a nucleus is kept in an external magnetic field? When it is kept in an external magnetic field, when any nucleus, when it is kept in an external magnetic field, the nucleus revolves around its own axis, creates its own magnetic field. But apart from that, the electrons which are surrounding the nuclei, that is the bonding electron pair, these are also forced to move. And they also move faster. And these circulating bonding electrons create a magnetic field. So this nucleus is revolving around its own axis. Simultaneously, these electrons are circulating here around the nucleus, and when such a nuclei is kept in an external magnetic field, these are forced to circulate, and this also creates a magnetic field which may align in the opposite direction of the applied magnetic field, which may align opposite to the applied magnetic field. And so this magnetic field, which is being created by the circulation of electron, is called as your induced magnetic field, or it is also termed as secondary induced magnetic field. Secondary induced magnetic field. So see, what we are coming to a conclusion. We have studied that the nuclei, which revolves around its own axis and creates a magnetic field, and this magnetic field, either it will align parallel or anti-parallel to the applied magnetic field that we have studied, means we are getting the two different types of orientations. Then the second thing is bonding electron pair. Nuclei means here it is proton, and here the bonding electron pair. These are also forced to circulate, and when these are forced to circulate, this circulates around the nucleus and creates its own magnetic field, that is the secondary induced magnetic field, which may align opposite to the applied magnetic field, or it may align parallel to the applied magnetic field. But when this induced magnetic field, when it acts in a opposite direction, when it secondary induced magnetic field, which is indicated by the sign that is rho h0, rho h0, external magnetic field is h0. And so this magnitude of the induced magnetic field is also termed as your screening constant, is also termed as your screening constant. And so the when it aligns opposite to the applied magnetic field, it is termed as your shielding. When it is aligning opposite to the applied magnetic field, it is called as your shielding effect. Means this secondary induced magnetic field tries to protect the nuclei from the external magnetic field. And so the magnetic field created by the nuclei and the external magnetic field, it needs high energy to coincide. It needs high energy to come in resonance. It needs high energy to come in resonance. And so it will absorb and will give you a absorption. So in this way, here we are coming to an point that this frequency of absorption is equal to 2 into mu into H effective upon H, where H effective is the magnetic field felt by the nucleus, and it is never the same as that of applied magnetic field. And so H effective is equal to H0 into 1 minus rho, where the rho is nothing but your screening constant, and the screening constant, which depends upon the electron density around the proton and the presence of the adjacent protons, or the adjacent protons on the adjacent atoms. And so each set of proton will give you a different screening constant. And so in this way, we can get a result that different protons will have different H0, means H effective will have different H effective. And so the position of signal can be determined, means here it is aligning opposite to the applied magnetic field, so it is called as shielding, and when it aligns parallel to the applied magnetic field, it will be called as your de-shielding. And so we will continue these things in the next lecture. Thank you very much.